So I want to talk about a show that I discovered on HBO Max, and while it started off a little rough for me and I didn't know that I was going to be that into it, I ended up absolutely loving it. I finished it last night, and it proved that, the old adage is true. Sometimes you can't judge a book by its cover. Now, this show is called Proud on HBO Max. It's a Polish series that I don't know if it's a I'm not sure if it's a co-production with HBO Max or if it's just an acquisition, kind of like what Heated Rivalry is for HBO Max. But anyway, it's been on the platform for a couple of months, and I discovered it probably a month ago. Watched the first two episodes and then left it alone. And then when I was scrolling through HBO Max, I think it was last week or the week before, I saw that the season finale was coming up, and I said, oh, this is something I should probably revisit. So over the weekend I revisited and ended up absolutely loving this show. And I think that, I haven't heard many people talking about it, so I wanted to, just bring it to your attention, especially as we're, still in the dog days of summer, excuse me. The network fall broadcast season doesn't start until October. And if you're looking for something to watch, this is something that you don't have to binge. You can take your time with it. It's only 8 episodes, but it, in the end, is really worth your time. Now, again, it's called Proud. It's on HBO Max. It is about a young man named Philip. He's a model. He's about 25, 26 years old. And he is a complete screw up in life. He's gay. That's not the screw up, just to be clear. But he's a gay man. He's young. He's in the club scene. He does drugs. He parties. He's irresponsible. He doesn't have any responsibilities. He's just responsible for himself. But at the time that we meet him, he lives with his sister, who has a 12 month year old child, maybe a little bit younger than that, because I'm not sure how much time passes throughout the 8 episodes, but we're gonna, she's the kid is less than a year old when we meet them. And I believe somebody can correct me, but I think she's, if anything, she's a year. So anyway, and her name, the little baby's name, is Tosha, and she's adorable. And the sister is just, she's a single mom, and she's completely frustrated with Philip, her brother, because he's always out partying. He's not doing the things that she asks him to do. Just little things like taking out the trash, doing the laundry, cleaning up after themselves, just those, helping out with the baby, just those things. And eventually she's like, this is all in the first episode. So, and again, there is a spoiler that I'm about to reveal. It's not a huge spoiler, but it's important to why I'm talking about this show. So, so she wants him to move. And the other thing to know about Philip is that he's a motorcycle enthusiast. So he has a bunch of motorcycles. So while he somewhat struggles financially because, modeling is, he gets a gig here and there. He's so attached to these motorcycles that sometimes it really is a struggle for him to let go of them. But sometimes letting go of them is necessary in order to pay his obligations, which we see in this first episode. But so she tells him to move out. And while he's out one night partying, he gets a phone call from a hospital, and he finds out that his sister is there. And by the time he arrives to the hospital, he finds out that his sister has died. So, and it's from a medical condition that they knew she had, and so it was sudden, wasn't painful, but his sister is now dead, and he has got to go home, and the niece is with a babysitter, so he has to go home and now figure out his new normal of what he's going to do about his niece. He goes to the niece's father, who wants nothing to do with her. He never wanted to be a father. He made that clear to his ex-wife, but she wanted a baby, so she decided that she would raise the baby on her own. The new husband has the ex-husband has created a new life for himself. He's not interested in taking on the responsibilities of his daughter, so it's left up to Philip. Philip has a little community. He's got a best friend. He's got his sister's best friend, Kiki. And when he's at the club, when he leaves, when he finds out about his sister, he has a not so meet cute with a young man named Powell. And I hope I pronounced that correctly. This is a Polish series, but it's dubbed, so you can listen to it in English or a variety of languages. Or you can listen to it in its native Polish and read the subtitles. Anyway, so we've got in the pilot, we get the introduction of all the major players that we're going to see and a next door neighbor that we're going to see throughout the series. Now, I struggled with the first episode because initially I'm thinking, before the twist of the sister dying, I was like, oh, so this is just going to be about this guy who parties all the time, and maybe we'll see him bouncing from relationship to relationship and at some point fall in love, and that will be the struggle because it's the him trying to figure out the life that he had versus the life that he now wants. Now, part of that is true, but the twist comes in with the baby. I did not realize that Philip was going to fall in love with this baby and want to become her adoptive parents. Now, the thing to know about Poland is that being a gay parent is not permissible. They do not allow gay adoption. Being part of the LGBTQ community in Poland is also unacceptable. And so that is the major hurdle for Philip in this story. But what we see is him falling in love with this little girl day by day, and then by circumstance, meeting the young man Powell that he met at the club one night. They bump into him. He and his niece bump into him at a supermarket. They kind of reignite their their connection, and chaos ultimately ensues because Philip has to, in order to remain as the custodial parent, to say, for his niece, he gets a lawyer. He has to go through. They make you go through meet with a psychologist. A social worker has to come by, and so it is not a comedy of errors. It is just a disaster. All of these things tend to be a disaster. But as we see Philip go through each of these steps in order to bring his niece into his life on a permanent basis, we get the evolution of this character and we watch him grow. And it is really just the performances are magnificent. The story evolves. It has an emotional maturity. It's somewhat of a coming of age story, even though he is in his mid to late 20s when we meet him. We get the political aspect of what it's like to be LGBTQ in Poland, and it's a hero's journey. We see this character go from the place that he's in, where he's not in a good place, he's not a hero, you don't necessarily like him that much, to, by the end, in the season finale, pretty much rooting for him and loving him. And the season finale ends on a cliffhanger because there is the question of him getting custody. There is a custody battle. I won't say with who. You can watch it to see how it who pops up wanting custody of the little girl. But it is a really fun I'll say fun in the, if you enjoy watching the evolution of a character told through story in a really smart way, then Proud is the show for you. It's on HBO Max, and I highly recommend it.